So my ultimate GTA 6 wish list. What you saying, everyone? I hope you're good. So for today's video, I'm just going to go through my top 10 wish list for Grand Theft Auto 6 and all the things I feel like it absolutely has to have to completely blow me away and set a whole new bar. And make sure to let me know in the comments what's important to you, what do you feel like the game has to have. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the video, drop a like, I really do appreciate the support. And if you're feeling it, smash that hype button for me. And don't forget to follow on X, that's Rockstation on X. And if you'd like to join the Discord, you'll see the QR code on the screen now. And a huge massive shout out to the first channel member, Victor. Really appreciate the support. So let's get into the video. So number one is a next level story. A lot of you already know this, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is my favourite game of all time. And one of the reasons for this is just how brilliantly written, acted and fleshed out the story is in every single way. And we all know Rockstar have amazing writers. And even though some of the old ones have left, I've still got confidence they're going to deliver an amazing story. But for me, one of the most important things that we're going to need to see is a story with meaning, purpose, and a story that catches your feelings in every single way. And I think this whole dynamic with the Jason and Lucia thing, I think we're definitely going to be in for a turbulent ride, and I absolutely can't wait. And I definitely am confident they're going to have fleshed everything out. And like I say, when they went from GTA 5 to Red Dead, everything with the narrative, the story, it was just kicked up a whole nother level. And I think we got an insight to sort of how he came up with starting the idea for the Red Dead story when we got that Dan Houser interview, which was really interesting. And as Rockstar stated, this journey is going to take us across the entire state of Leonida. So that opens up so many possibilities for extra characters, random events, and a lot of crazy situations. And I just can't wait to just jump in and discover just how well written and executed this game's going to be. And I have absolutely no doubts that that's going to be the case. So a more realistic and reactive wanted system. So the one thing that does bother me about GTA 5, which again they drastically improved on in Red Dead Redemption 2, so I've got no fear it's going to be next level in GTA 6, is the wanted system. In 5 it just feels lackluster. I even felt like it felt a bit dated at the time when we first got it, and that cone system, I don't know, it's just a poor system, especially nowadays. And I'm just wondering how far Rockstar can actually take this system when it comes to GTA 6. And with Red Dead, we had that brilliant witness system, which I think was revolutionary when it came to interacting in gaming with the law. And the first time I experienced that system, when the sheriffs came up to me asking if I knew what was going on in the area, I just couldn't believe it was actually happening, and I'd never experienced anything like that in a game. But again, how far can they take this? Will the police remember you forever? Or over a longer period of time, will your vehicle be marked and traced? There are just so many directions they could go with it. And if they take it too far, it could become quite overwhelming and get a bit tedious. So again, it's about finding that balance. But let me know in the comments, what kind of a balance would you like for the wanted system? Do you want it to be a bit more lenient, or do you want it to be a real struggle? And would you like the witness system from Red Dead Redemption 2 to return as well? So deeper immersion and grounded realism. So I am going to keep referencing Red Dead Redemption 2 here, because it's literally the standard that Rockstar have set, and they haven't got anyone else to compete with other than themselves and that game and their previous games, and that's just the way it works. But one of the things that made Red Dead so amazing was just that deep, immersive, grounded realism, which in my opinion just sets it apart from anything else. And I've got no doubt that this realism will be coming over to GTA 6. So the question is, do a lot of people want that? Because people want different things from this game. And personally, I want as much realism and immersion as possible. And I'm happier with the slow gameplay, having to manually do everything, the slower animations. And I enjoy it. I feel like it makes it more grounded. And that's why we always go on about how there's something about this game that just makes it feel so realistic, and it's the best game ever made. And this is one of the reasons why. And I remember that when they were building GTA 4, they basically said they build a pristine world and then they go back in and make it look worn afterwards and make it look lived in. So the amount of work that must go into not only building the world, but then layering the world, making it look like there's been years worth of people living there. And you just can't fathom the detail and the immersion that's going to be implemented into GTA 6. And I think some of the people who weren't keen on the slowness and weight and grit of Red Dead Redemption, I think they're going to be a bit disappointed, because I can't really see Rockstar taking a backward step when it comes to the immersion and realism. And I'm just wondering how they can walk that balance of keeping the GTA arcade type fans happy at the same time as maintaining the realism and not taking any backward steps from what they delivered with Red Dead. But we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. So number 4, interiors. So obviously there's been a few rumours floating around and that 70% number floating about, which would be amazing, but personally I can't see it being 70% of the buildings that'll be enterable. But the way I've always thought about it, I want enterable buildings as long as they have purpose and meaning and they add to the world. It's pointless just having an empty building with nothing to do inside just for the sake of the aesthetic. So I've got a feeling the way they're going to approach this, they're just going to have listed and created more like clothing shops, different types of stores, bars, restaurants, pubs, which will slowly build up the amount of meaningful buildings that we can enter. And if you look at something like the Strip, you're probably going to find most of that's going to be enterable. So I think we're going to be overwhelmed when we walk along those hotels, bars, clubs, and we find that we can pretty much go in all of them. But not necessarily to say that, a big skyscraper that you're going to be able to go into every building. So yeah, with regards to the interiors, I do think that we're definitely going to get them, but I just don't think it would be realistic to expect every single building to be completely enterable, or even a higher number of 70% if you think of the amount of buildings that are going to be in this. But GTA 5 definitely was missing out on enterable interiors. But it has to be done in the right way, and I've got no doubt that Rockstar are going to execute it perfectly. So a proper stealth system. So one of the things that GTA 5 was lacking, along with Red Dead 2 actually, is a decent stealth system. And it's something that always was quite lacklustre in Rockstar games in general, and it's something I really hope they improve on this time around. And I'm not sure if they'll take it as far as a full, complete stealth system, because it's not always what GTA is about. But I would really like that. And again, if the enemies are programmed, if the AI of the enemies are programmed with stealth in mind. And I definitely think with the technologies and capabilities that Rockstar have with the Rage engine and the talented people they've got working there, they could literally create one of the best stealth systems to ever exist in gaming. It just depends how far they want to take it when it comes to GTA 6. But one of the things I did say, the ability to remain undetected and sneak around, potentially completing missions without being seen, and having that choice at least, for me would be completely incredible. So I'm not really sure how they're going to approach stealth, but I really hope it's implemented in some kind of way, and I can't wait to find out. So weighty, impactful melee combat. So in my opinion, again, another downside of GTA 5. So the first time I got the game and I was able to free roam, the first thing I did as Franklin was go up to someone and punch them, and they just flopped to the ground, and I was really disappointed. And I remember it being one of my first experiences of the game. So it didn't take away my enjoyment for the game in that moment, totally. I just remember having that feeling of being, we've got another 10 years of this combat. But then obviously Red Dead 2 came out and they completely fixed it, and the combat was really gritty, realistic and weighty. So I've got no doubt that Rockstar are going to smash it out the park when it comes to the melee combat in GTA 6. And I think they're definitely going to use Red Dead 2 as a foundation and just jack it up to the next level completely. And I really hope we can also learn the different fighting styles like we could in GTA San Andreas. And I hope that the fighting feels different between Jason and Lucia. I just know anything could be an improvement over the combat in GTA 5, but we did already get that with Red Dead Redemption 2. But let me know, what do you think of the combat in Red Dead? Because for me, I just love that grit, the way you can grab them, the way you put them on the floor, the way you can just, when you punch them, you can really feel the weight and the grit of the punch, and even the sound effects just go hand in hand with it. Yeah, I absolutely love the combat in that game. So number 7, dynamic looting and world interaction. Another one where Red Dead just absolutely shines is the looting system and the general interaction system. So everything has a purpose and a meaning, everything's interactive. You actually feel like a real person living in that world. Nothing feels closed away or locked off or not thought out. And the way you have to physically open cupboards, go down each individual drawer, search through people's pockets, for me, it just pinpoints one of the reasons that makes Red Dead such a GOAT game. And obviously they're going to use Red Dead as the foundation and core of what they're going to use to build GTA 6. So I've got no doubts a lot of these systems are going to come over, but just amped up to a whole nother level, fully fleshed out. And then onto the interaction system, which I think we can pretty safely say is coming over to GTA 6. And again, it's going to be just boosted up. And there's likely going to be way more dialogue options, characters with greater memories, characters with the ability to make choices and decisions. And I can't wait to just jump in and start having some really dynamic conversations with these people, meet all the different type of characters in the world. And the Strangers and Freaks missions, Strangers missions in Red Dead, the Gavin, we've got all this to come over again, but with a much bigger game that's taken them a lot longer to build. And honestly, I just can't wait for this whole world interaction. But most importantly, that looting system. There's nothing worse than when you're in a game and to loot, you just hover over it and the item vanishes. I like to be able to physically get that item myself. So more mission freedom and player choice. So one of the things that's a big letdown about Rockstar Games in general is the lack of freedom when it comes to completing missions, like wandering slightly outside and getting that mission failed pop up. But obviously with 2026 coming up, there's no excuse for that now. And I do hope Rockstar give us a lot more freedom. As I said in the stealth section, I want the ability to go completely undetected or to go in guns blazing. I want it to be my choice, and I don't want to be punished for thinking outside the box and trying to complete a mission in a different way. And I hope Rockstar have taken all this into account and we don't just constantly get that mission failed, you've left the mission area, or you're leaving the mission area. And Red Dead is my favourite game of all time, but this is one area that could definitely be improved. But Red Dead does play out more like a film, so there's sort of an excuse for it when it comes to that. So with Grand Theft Auto 6, I really hope they give us more player freedom when it comes to the missions, how we approach them and how we execute them. And I hope we're just not stuck on that tight track. Because I remember watching a video a few years ago where the guy talks about how, GTA is meant to be an open game, yet when it comes to certain elements of the game within the game itself, there's quite a few restrictions that you can notice if you're looking for them. But again, most of it, because of how big the game is and the variety, a lot of people are just willing to overlook it, including myself. So a balanced, fair in-game economy. So this one's probably more for GTA Online, but it can definitely apply to the main game as well. Money has to have a purpose. Things can't be stupidly priced. We need a balanced, fair economy. So obviously the economy they'll use for this is the foundation they'll use to structure online, which could screw us all over in the future, where we end up paying 2 million for basic cars like we are now. So I really hope everything's well structured, thought out. The price of clothing, food, helicopters, planes is all grounded and down to earth. And I also want it to be quite difficult to actually earn money. I don't want to be doing my first mission and instantly getting 10 grand. I want it to be a grind. I want to feel like I'm actually a brokey and genuinely working to have to build for what I earn in the game. And we're most likely going to have crypto and a new version of the stock market. And it's going to be really interesting to see how everything's balanced. And I'm sure Rockstar can get it right. They've had loads of trial and error with GTA Online and Red Dead. And it's also going to be interesting to see how it all gets implemented when it comes to the online side of it as well. But let me know what you're expecting from the economy. How do you think Rockstar are going to handle it? Do you think crypto is going to be a big part of the game? Do you think there'll be multiple banks instead of just one? I know one thing, I definitely think the phone is going to be the central hub of everything we do on the game. For the missions, for all the contacts, everything. So yeah, I also think that the interface is going to be sort of like as close to liquid glass as Apple can get it without going over the edge. So finally, number 10, strong endgame content after the story. So one of the disappointing things about any game for me is you're just enjoying that game and then you come to that last mission. And for me, even when I've got side content available, my hype just instantly dies the minute the story's over and everything else feels a bit meaningless. And this is why for me, GTA 6 has to have great endgame content. And before we even talk about DLC, there are more basic things, not necessarily endgame, but things that can be implemented that just keep your character alive in that world. For example, the RPG elements. Having to keep yourself alive is basically a constant mission within itself that's going on all the time, and I love stuff like that. I love the eating, the sleeping, the working out. Kingdom Come Deliverance is great. I love going in, locking the door, eating from the pot, going in front of the fire, putting the character to bed. I sort of like having that sort of structure for the character, somewhere for the character to go, somewhere for the character to stay. And I also hope there's multiple endings and also different ways you can approach individual missions. Like, for example, imagine playing a version of Red Dead 2 where, not necessarily Arthur, but some of the other characters who die don't end up dying. If there's ways you could replay missions to save them. So if there's a way that Rockstar could implement deep levels of choice and consequence, I just think that would absolutely be incredible. But what are you expecting? What do you do when you finish a GTA game? Do you just drive around? Do you go around robbing the shops? Do you just move on to online? Be interested to know. I've got a mate who just, does online and does the biker, just constantly does the biker sales. So yeah, be interesting to know what you do when you finish a game. So there we go. That's my GTA 6 wish list. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in the game. It'd be interesting to see the variety of things that people are looking for, because I think the list is going to be that huge that we'll get an idea of why this is taking Rockstar so long, because they're the ones who have to decide what goes in and what doesn't. And also, if you enjoyed the video, don't be shy to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new as well. I do really appreciate the support. And follow me on X as well, Rockstation on X. And if you do super enjoy the video, then smash that hype button. A big love to everyone supporting the channel, and a shout out again to Victor for being the first member of the channel. Memberships are available on the channel now if you wanted to show some extra support. Thank you again to everyone, and I'm really hoping we do get some GTA 6 information soon. Fingers crossed something before Christmas, and I'll see you for the next one.